All right. You ready for this?
Absolutely.
To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand tall.
We're back on another episode of Stealing from Friends, where we bring on dope people that do dope stuff. Now, before we get started, today's sponsor was brought to you by Open Phone, otherwise known as Koi. Here's the thing, Open Phone. I got used to saying Open Phone and doing all my stuff. I want y'all to know this is going to be a change, so I may just use Open Phone a lot. But if you're a creator and you're having to balance your personal phone and your business stuff and having to combine the messages and all that good stuff, it gets so convoluted because I don't ever answer my text messages. So being able to separate it all within one device, not only that, when you call somebody, it auto transcripts and tell you what you talked about and what your next steps were. It's trusted by over 50,000 folks. And if you're any type of creative entrepreneur, you need to be able to separate your personal from your business. So make sure you go down the show notes and do all the things where you see things at, and go check out Open Phone, formerly known, actually, Q Quote. I'm gonna get it right, Open Phone, I promise. Check the show notes. Now, before we get started, today's guest, I have just met her by way of Katrina, but when I see, first off, just women in this creative space, I'm always excited, especially that they're making money and doing stuff like that. That always just sparks my interest. But not only that, she is taking one of the creative routes that's not even traditional. She took the non-traditional, I guess, traditional speaking, because she does a lot of painting. Now, that's very surface level speaking. I'm going to let her kind of go into depth about what's all happening. Native from Little Rock?
No, actually, I'm from California.
So two bad things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the doggone from the west side, and then also doggone a Packers fan.
Die hard.
All right, well, so before we get into it, today's guest, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So now, Packers fan, I kind of want to ask why, because did that translation, because you're from California, how does that piece actually even come to be?
Well, it doesn't really even translate simply because I'm from California. I think when I was 6, it was just to be different, or I happened to like all things green, because I also was a Seattle Supersonics fan. Shout out to them, that
I'm
franchise.
a Seattle Seahawks fan. Okay.
Well, that's as far as I go with
Dang.
Seattle. Don't get excited. When the franchise folded, I had a choice. You know, my family were kind of like, you're in it for life. But in the case of a franchise folding, I went with the Boston Celtics. So I'm a Boston Celtics fan. But I am of the old school when it comes to football. And I remember all the great quarterbacks at the time. You know, it was Favre. So, but you know, you had the Bledsoes and you have Dan Marino and all those different type of people. The league was different. Grew up in a house, start reading at 2. Dad had me reading the paper by 6 and 7. By 9 or 10, I was reading stats and knowing seedings and standings and games back and all that. So I'm a sports girl too.
Heard that. Is football your sugar honey iced tea? You dabble in all of them?
Yes. Well, it's probably my top sport.
Okay.
And then you would have a basketball, and then I do about Dodger fan too. Shout out to the Dodgers.
Heard that.
That is actually my only California team that I follow.
Okay. You show a little bit of love over to California.
Yeah. Go Zags.
You know what I'm saying?
Gonzaga. That's my other squad.
Heard that.
Yeah.
You are definitely not someone in a creative space. They say we're weird. We have our weird things, but then there's these one pieces that makes us relatable. Like also like you're into sports. Right. It's very rare I see women that are into sports heavy, especially from an early age. And then only that, you're a creative. And so it's kind of like one of those things when you're in high school, hey, you either go into the band or you go full-fledged into a creative, but you're not about to mix these things together. So tell me about, because I saw the stuff you did with Katrina. It was on the lake. It looked dope and all that good stuff.
Right.
Can you just take me back to what that event was, and then we'll kind of uncover all the pieces?
Oh, sure. Okay. So Katrina, shout out to her too for this opportunity and connecting me today with this podcast. But she came to one of my events called Micasso on the Marina. And my goal with that was to create an experience. The name of my business is the Micasso Experience. So anything I do, whether it's my art or events, I want it to be more than just the status quo. I want to add that je ne sais quoi. And in this case, the marina is on a beautiful water space that shares the Arkansas River between both Little Rock and North Little Rock. That's kind of where, and it's the water that's in between the space. On the North Little Rock side, they have not only a dock, but a houseboat. and the houseboat also serves as an event space. Funny thing, she actually happened to be doing something or coming around the corner from a property that was on the marina, and she overheard me having a conversation, and she said, "You know what? This sounds like something I want to do."
Yeah.
And she came by, and we had a beautiful experience. It was actually right when the equinox happens, where it's the same amount of day as it is night, and so we did a piece called "The Transition," and it was how summer translates into fall. She was very relaxed, enjoyed the ambiance, the food. Even the food, I have to create it like a art piece.
Right.
Everything incorporates art. And afterwards, we had like a photo shoot on the water, and it was an absolutely beautiful day. So that sweet spot is around 6:15, the golden hour.
Yeah.
And we had a great time.
I heard that. So, what even got you into this space to make you want to scratch this itch?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that, because a friend and I were talking about just something that was deeper into the business and a challenge I was having. And it's like, Monica, you're brilliant, you're highly educated, you have all these things. Why do you want to do this? Right. And I took a deep breath and I said, what is my why? And my why goes back to myself as someone who struggled in 2017 with, I'd say, mental health, anxiety, depression, and stress, big life changes. Was watching a commercial one day, and one of my lowest points, and it was a store. Shout out to them, but since they're not sponsoring me, I won't mention their name, right? And they were advertising paint supplies. And I'm like, why do I have this urge to paint? It's weird. Ended up getting the paintbrush, and I just remember floating, being away, being in a zone. And I had created all these pieces, and I paint large, like 3 to 6 feet tall by 3 to 6 feet wide.
So anxiety, and then we got into paint because of the...
It became a coping mechanism,
Okay.
and I didn't know that's what it was. I actually had a therapist friend later who had mentioned it at a party that I did, that sometimes whether it's a hobby or it could be a good or a positive thing. Some people's coping mechanisms are alcohol and drugs. I turned to the paintbrush instead of the joints or the drinks. So started to do it then. Painted for about a year or so. Ended up being in my first gallery space. I put up my Wakandan warrior. It sold within an hour. Then I knew I was on to something. Then, of course, later on, start getting into vending events and trade shows and all that, and it's been up from there. But my why is I do my parties because even if it's only for an hour and a half or 2 hours, I'm there for the caregivers, the people who put themselves last, the people who want to do stuff for themselves but never find the time, the person who has a lot on their mind and wants to escape but in a positive way. I'm there for the person who may be hurting but doesn't have an outlet. And so when you're with me, I want you to take this time to escape. And I can always tell when my guests are relaxed because they're not asking questions. They're not necessarily talking. They're just the way they even move their brush. I pay attention to detail, and I can tell when somebody is lost in their project. And so my why is, while art literally saved my life, this may not be your thing, but maybe for a couple hours, you can feel the same euphoric feeling that I feel when I create.
That's awesome. I don't even. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. That's awesome. That's so awesome to hear. And so, I kind of want to uncover some of these pieces. So, for outside looking in, and you did mention you do it as therapeutic. All self-taught. YouTube University. Any official schooling training for this piece of it?
Funny part, I wanted to chime in when you were talking about me in the sports. Career-wise, I have been a creative writer, an editor, a journalist. I've written for a paper. I was part of NABJ, which is National Association of Black Journalists, and I was the I forgot. I had many titles, but I did that when I was in Dayton, Ohio. So, and even my background has always been either like sociology, social studies, or business.
Yeah.
Even my degrees are in business, and so I had a minor in art, but that program got cut. So I've had the creative bug, but I'm formally trained to be more business and books and writing, right? But I feel like they complement each other because my business mind keeps me balanced.
Yeah.
My creative mind loosens me up from being tight about business. And so they check each other. Like, you've been creating for this many hours or days, Monica. What's the ROI on that? But then again, it's like, hey, if you don't let me create, there is no money to worry about a ROI.
Exactly.
So I have the best of both
Yeah.
worlds. So what makes me different is while shout out to all creatives wherever you're at, I know my worth, but I also know how to capitalize on that, and I know how to formulate business plans and numbers and how to get you there and stuff like that. And sometimes creatives, we just don't want to create. We don't want to put like add business to it, because
Correct.
it does smother it a bit. But you have to, if this is what you want to do and you want to do it as
To
a
actually
career,
live, yeah.
you want to live, you're gonna have to sacrifice some of that. I just want to be free. You can, but you know, the free rent is outside on the porch, and that's not where I want to be. So
Man, you hit the nail on the head mentioning that that's the hard part for me when I'm talking to young like videographers and stuff. The old mantra is if you build it, they will come.
right,
At this point, thanks to COVID, everybody's building it.
Right.
Now it's like, how do you separate yourself? Sure, you got a great
Right.
product. You can throw a rock, find a photographer, you know, that old saying. And so now you're having these other facets like the customer service piece. How are you actually doing contracts and invoicing and all these other stuff of it? Or even just marketing yourself, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So you're absolutely right. That's the hard part because they feel like it's going to muffle. How have you, even though you have a background in it, I'll say I had to go get formally trained. Well, I paid for a
Right.
business coach to get the business side of it. But at this point, outside looking in, what would you tell somebody that's maybe like they do a good creative work, but you know they're lacking on a business part or all just collectively business?
Well, I will tell you this: the idea that you can make it on your own as an artist is false. It's completely false. And what I mean by that, your talent alone is the base. It's what sets the precedence for connection. But you need a place to exhibit your work. Maybe you're not in a space where you're paying to be on someone's walls, but maybe they can work with you and do a trade-off in that, you know, there's a commission that comes off that. Maybe there's a place you partner with and it's a building. They have a great service, but no one knows about them, but you have the audience,
Right.
right? Or they're trying to tap into who your customer base is. Well, the trade-off would be, you know, you market them, you tag them on all your stuff, you put them down on your stuff as a sponsor, and as they start to see the return on that,
It makes sense for them. to
you
make-
know, so again, we need people, and I like to think, being the oldest of two, turning my
No, you good.
thing off, being the oldest of two, and always trying to do things on my own and be independent, I had to learn quick that there's nothing wrong with a hand up. You know, for those who don't like handouts, there's nothing wrong with a hand up. And oftentimes, the reciprocity comes just from the experience of the networking opportunity. So that would be one of my biggest things. Also, too, be open to learn. Be open to learn and criticism. I have a friend, I posted my flyer for my next event, and I know that it's dope, but I know it's something I could have done differently, and I know why I did it that way. But she's all the way in Houston, Texas, and she inboxed me and let me know everything that she felt about it.
Yeah,
Why? I don't know, but I said thank you, because I know this is coming from an authentic place.
absolutely.
So you have to be coachable. You have to be open to feedback, both warranted and unwarranted, because there may be some truth in both.
Yeah.
Because a lot of artists are sensitive. They're sensitive.
Probably
about
didn't say
the
that one
craft.
time for the folks in the back.
Yeah,
God,
yes.
dog. Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure too. Is this a PG-13?
Oh,
or
well,
cussing, or
no,
we
yeah.
doing it
I want you to help your damn self.
Okay,
yeah,
there
be
we
free.
go. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
for
just
sure.
making sure, because I'm an artist and I am sensitive about my shit.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will go back and look at or embrace the feedback and make the necessary changes,
Yeah.
just to be better. You know, and be okay with failing up. Be okay with failing up.
For those that went to public school like myself, you know, what would you say felling up mean?
Failing up, in other words, the mistakes you make, even though in that moment may be critical, they can be what you would call like core memories or moments that grow you. So you can't be afraid for them to come. You just have to embrace them and move forward.
Heard that. Dang.
That's
Okay.
what failing up is. Yes.
So why is it that us as creatives, I go do a project for somebody, I create a video, whatever the case may be, and I send it to them, And you know how it is on the creative side. It's not just you shot the video and you just dump a song on it. There's
Right.
other processes and all that
Right.
stuff. But then they hit us with the famous, could you change the song? Why does my heart, this is the young me, by the way, why does my heart go, you telling me you don't like my work? You basically saying, screw your grandmama is what I'm feeling
Wow.
like, you know? So now how am I supposed to get over, I've put my blood, sweat, and phalanges in this, and now you tell me you don't like it.
Wow. Okay, so that's realistic. I have done some customs before, and this person had all this stuff and this vision, and they sent me things. But what I say up front is, my style is my style, and it's not that I can't paint forward. I paint backwards because I believe your best life's in front of you. Don't look back. I actually have some samples here.
Come
for you
on with
today.
it. Absolutely.
Here
Come
you go.
on
If
with
you want
it.
to go ahead and grab
Absolutely.
these and take a look, and I'll explain those. But I have a very specific style. So if you call me and say, Monica, I want you to do this portrait for me, right? I want you to do this thing. I have a unique style, and it's for me. And
Am I looking at a black naked lady?
well, it's more of a silhouette, but it's
Okay.
called The Lady of Darkness. And it's more about appreciating the dark and mysterious times to truly appreciate the light in your life. The whimsical hair here on the top represents
That
how
4C?
Yeah, that's 4C. It represents how with a woman, you never really truly know a woman, because a woman is responsible for bringing life into this world, and she's the bearer of many secrets, and people trust her. So a lot of times she's taking so much in, you never really know how she feels, because sometimes you simply don't even ask her what she thought about it or if she had the time to listen. And so that is one of my ones that nationally and internationally people love the most. Some people just see it like Katrina did, and it just strikes them.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we don't know what y'all saying because y'all won't tell us. We can't read y'all mind. I can give you that answer. Price just went up.
Right. So that one, I'm going to need you to figure that out. Sir.
Right.
There
No,
we go.
I
I'm
got
gonna
it.
need you
I know how the
figure-
drums work.
Okay.
There we go.
That's one of my artists. I have about 8 musicians right now. Art is life, and I just feel like music on top of art is what saved my life. Any mood that I'm going through, whether it's if I'm maybe in the mood to box, I'm probably going to listen to some rock, some hard rock, and some rap music, some trap music.
Some wrist-slitting music?
Yeah, so specifically Yo Gotti, shout out, or my West Coast rap, right? But
Okay.
if I'm feeling like I need a touch of the Lord, I'm going to listen to my gospel mix that I have. And actually, believe it or not, when I paint, when I'm just vibing, I actually listen to classical music.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the real classical
Beethoven's
music.
Fifth Symphony.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And Bach, all of them. That's what I listen to.
Heard
I
that.
listen to real classical. And so music is essential to the soul, and it's another form of creativity and expression. And I can feel that when I'm in a mood.
You know, someone once said, music makes me lose control. You know, I don't know who said it.
I
but-
know that was the great philosopher Sierra.
Right. I believe
But
Hebrew.
let's go,
you
Fat
know
Man
what I'm
Scoop,
saying?
maybe. Yeah, he was in there. Yeah, music makes me lose control. I got you.
Dang.
All right, and then this one is actually called the Ballerina Sisterhood. The original of this one was like 5 feet by 4.5 feet, and it sold out of a gallery.
Just for y'all know, I'm 5 feet. Just so you know how huge this perspective was. I'm 5 feet tall. All right. God, that's a
hilarious.
huge
Yeah,
painting.
5 feet by 4.5 feet. And I created that because I remember growing up. I didn't grow up with a whole lot, but shout out to God for still providing.
Come on with it.
And a lot of people that were in the dance and could afford to do those things didn't look like me. So I would be in my room sometime imagining that myself and my cronies, which are friends in case you don't know what that word means, rushing the stage and having our moment. So this is the Ballerina Sisterhood. But I'm happy to say this is in so many dance studios and so many former dancers or aspiring dancers and of all hues. The biggest thing that makes me stand out is when I look at my customer base, most of them are either foreign or some form of Caucasian background. And then you have people, people of all diasporas. And I was worried that being a Black artist that does Black art and the displays images with a darker hue, that it would pigeon-toe me or put me in a box.
I like how you said that whole sentence, just so corporate. That was just very clean.
Well,
like
I
that.
try to do what I can.
I like
you know, and
that.
I try
like
to do
that.
what I can. But when that touches other people and they see the message, I really appreciate it because I always wanted to have a universal message of love. Of we all experience love, we experience death, heartbreak, happiness. We all need motivation. So most of my pieces fall under that in terms of the message. So I don't paint the faces. I don't want you to get so caught up in the structure of the face that you miss the message and you can't see yourself in it.
Heard that.
So yeah.
Now, one thing I'm gonna ask, because I don't know, like when it comes to art, drawing, those types of pieces, I would say I have a more connection with my buddy, my tattoo artist, and he loves to draw and stuff like that. So I was like, anything you got, something new, give it to me, whatever you got. But it seems like your style, you're able to, and just correct me if I'm wrong, is it you're able to make whatever you're feeling for the client? Because it feels like that second image, I don't know why I felt like it was Louisiana. Like it felt like New Orleans.
I get that all the time. So shout out to New Orleans. When it was inspired by like the big band sound, really there in Memphis. You know that they come not just with the bands, but a lot of color. And so I was drawn to it because when you think about even like the eccentric colors they wear, even when they're performing.
Yeah.
So it came from that. But yes, if you think that one's that, I have one that's on the couch I didn't bring out. One of my newest ones called Back Porch on My Banjo. That is a direct shout out to the Lower Ninth Ward where Hurricane Katrina hit.
Yeah.
Beautiful architecture, eclectic colors, but the buildings are dilapidated. So it's the most beautifully sad.
Did y'all catch them 12 college words you just hit right there?
I do what I can.
The,
I used to
the
read.
buildings was dope, but the colors is dilapidated. So it ain't what it used to be. I'm just saying, it ain't what it used to be.
Yes, you are funny to see dilapidated buildings and the buildings, the paint peeling. So I created a piece that showed that the texture and the feel. I actually had somebody reach out to me and said, I appreciate this, but you really made me cry.
Yeah.
Because she actually is a refugee.
Oh, man.
Who's been, and they ended up coming to Arkansas. So that piece really touched her.
That's so awesome to hear that connection. I just recently watched that documentary that Spike Lee did.
Yeah.
That was rough.
I know. I don't know if I can. Honestly, my brother even told me about it, and I just don't know if I can because I actually went there. And another thing, I actually did a Ruby Bridges piece, and I put it online. And she actually,
for those who don't know, Ruby Bridges.
Okay. Do you want me to tell them?
I know, but
okay. Let's see what you know.
Well, Ruby, listen, with all the women. But for the I don't want to, keep up save much time. But let's just say I'm with them. I'm with the pack on that one. I'll just say it for the sake. I'm with y'all on this one.
Okay.
But Ruby was great, in my opinion.
Okay, Ruby. Okay, Ruby Bridges is actually a national activist. She started as a child. She actually integrated the Louisiana school system, and it was sad. She actually ended up being in school by herself for a year because people refused to go to school with a young lady of color. She's now in like her late 60s or 70s.
This feels recent then.
Yeah, no, this is recent. So for somebody to be so historic, to reach out to me personally and say, thank you for your contribution to history, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And bad at the same time.
Why bad?
It's bad because it shows that we as a people are not that far removed from segregation and just poorly treating each other as people, right? But the beautiful part is that I was able to contribute something. And when I did my tour of the Ninth Ward, there's a stop at the very school that she integrated. And I was able to walk the same stairs that I painted.
Yeah.
And it touches me so deep. I don't know if I'm doing it on her birthday or for Black History Month or what, but I have to share that. But it was such a moment to walk the stairs in the path. Just like it was when I moved out here and went up to Central. I couldn't even make it to the foyer. I was in tears.
Yeah.
To see all the people now and they look different. I saw every race just living life. But at one point, just because my skin is dark, I would have been chastised and maybe even beaten or worse.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see the change, but we still have a ways to go.
Absolutely. I mean, that goes into the next piece I was about to bring up. So, getting into art there's a lot of artists. You have
right.
the old, I don't even, what's this supposed to be a spray can?
Oh yeah,
Graffiti,
graffiti
you know,
artists.
and you got the folks who do it with the pencil and the chalk, and so you
Right.
have a lot of y'all that are in y'all's own spaces. How can one? Because the whole idea of the podcast, stealing from friends. So someone gets into this space,
Right.
and they're like, I want an opportunity to. Maybe they don't know what they're asking for, but I want an opportunity to do something for a Ruby, or I would love an experience where I'm contributing more than just my pencil to paper. How does one now take their hobby and now, because now there's a little bit more than just me just doing it because I like it.
Right. Right. Well, you know what? That is the hard question that's in the middle of the Rubik's Cube
Mm-hmm.
for everybody, because it's going to be different. There are people who are great hobbyists when it comes to drawing. I know that there are some people who can see my stuff and sit here and recreate it to even look better than mine, but there's no attachment to it outside of that. Some people create simply as an outlet, and it's never meant to be more than that. If they want to do what I do and have it be more of a career or something that, I literally turn my pain into my passion, and my passion is now what's getting me paid.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody may not want to experience extreme no's and lows and ebbs and flows. When it's flowing, it's amazing.
Oh,
But when it's not, it can hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The investment a lot of times up front, whether it's to go to these vendor events or trade shows to be seen, sometimes only to be continually passed. And you're an artist and I'm an artist, and we're not the same artist, but everybody wants your type of art right now and not mine. You can't worry about that.
right. Oh,
You know what I mean?
Man,
You
yeah.
literally have to be tunnel vision. I know this lady, and I actually can't think of her name, but we just did an event. Shout out to the Goat Festival, which was one of the dopest events I've ever been to. And I didn't know hanging out with goats was so cool, right?
Oh, actual bad.
Actual goats. I'm going to show you a
grass.
picture at the end of this, right? That I took I was walking a goat, but I had my art displayed, and it's a lady, we end up at a lot of the same trade shows. She was an artist. Her booth was 2 down. Sometimes people may not want the things I have, not just because it looks. They maybe don't like images. They just like clean, abstract things that they can make it whatever they want. And I started it a few shows back. I was actually working on a piece, and people tried to buy it right there. And I'm like, I'm just getting started.
This is you
literally-
doing it at the
I
thing.
was doing a live event, and I was painting live, just kind of seeing where it went.
Right.
And then I was like, okay. So then I created a series of 8 variations of that. And it's enough art and work and size and, combinations that it can be its own show.
Okay.
Like I can go somewhere and literally just bring the abstract art. And then I actually brought a color wheel. So if you want to know how it goes up against your accent wall,
That's clutch.
I got you covered.
That's clutch.
Yeah. You have to be open to expanding as an artist. Your style, your way is great, but open yourself up, because the more you open up, the wider, I guess you want to say, span or people that you can influence, that will follow you or work with you. Because I have people who collect me.
Yeah.
But if I keep doing the same thing over and over, they can only have so much of the same thing. Well, I have a music series. And in that series, there is 8 different musicians. Some people like them just because they think the art is dope and they want to put it all in the same thing.
Yeah.
Have a picture for you for that too. Remind me to show you that.
Say less.
So there's somebody who collects me in their home. They went in professionally, got them matted, and it's in a space, and it's become a conversation piece in their piano room, right?
Nice.
But in terms of the abstract art, it's different. Since it doesn't have actual people on it, it's more colors and lines, and it's flow. Some people love that. You would see this type of art in a bank. It's the art piece that when you're coming down the stairs to get to the studio,
yeah, okay.
that's abstract art, right? So I may have something comparable where you can get both of them, but the hues on them, which is the color base, are different.
Got
And
you.
so I have something for every home in multiple hues.
Is it safe to say corporate versus creative? Is that
absolutely.
the okay?
Well, and then that's where the line gets drawn for some artists. Some artists do not want to pivot whatever it is they have, but you have to look at who is your customer base. I'm
Right.
very clear on who my customer base. I'm clear on a lot of times what their income
Yeah.
is or their levels, and what their trends are. even down to when would they most likely be online to shop?
Yeah.
You know, my people, they're going to be your corporate, your 9 to 5ers. So if I post something between 5:30 and 8:30 in the morning, even if they don't say a lot, they probably have viewed and scrolled it because they're on their way to work. So that might be while they're waking up or moving around
Yeah.
or in the car. And they're your 6:30 to 10 people,
Just
dinner
got off
time.
work, yeah.
Just got off work and winding down. So some of the people will reach out to me late before they go to bed, like following up about an event or tickets or my earrings, whatever it is that I'm selling at the time. So know who your people are. But be willing to pivot if the people who have shown you support say, "Hey, I would love it if you did this," or "Have you ever thought about that?" And if it's not you and it's outside of your will, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you'll do it, but nobody will feel it.
Dang. Can you hit that? I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah. Like that baby piece. Let's go. Beep, beep, beep.
Oh, why were you out?
Y'all, see, she worried about the wrong thing. I'm out because I ain't want to be in. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay. Well, excuse me.
Nah, it's going to be on the U spot. That's why I was pacing that last question I was asking.
Hold on. Kaden, can you help me too since you're here? Yes. There's some art in a bag, like a sack, kind of looks like a burlap sack that would be out of your couches.
Burlap look like that? What is?
It's like the color of your floor. It's a bag full of art.
No, you saying you did this with your hand. I didn't know what that meant. With bag.
Katrina, can you get that one picture that I showed you? That it's not in a frame, but it's my New Orleans picture. Yeah. Oh well, there's no art in it. Okay.
Burlap.
Okay, that is like kind of the burlap sack though. Thank you, Learn. That one, that top one. Yeah.
What word was that?
This is the New Orleans inspired piece.
I was talking about when you said top.
I'm done. I'm so done.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this looks like Princess and the Frog, that type of vibe.
I'm so done. That does not look like Princess and the Frog.
No, obviously not this as in being from the Disney's princess. But for those who have kids and y'all have seen the movie Princess and the Frog, this would just mimic a scene from that time.
Okay.
In New Orleans when the guy was having the jumbo.
Okay.
I'm going to add that into the clip because now I'm going to need somebody to verify what I'm saying.
Okay.
Make sure you add this part in the clip.
Hey everybody, I made gumbo.
Ooh, that smells good. I got some hush puppies, Tiana. Here come.
You know the thing about good food? It brings folks together.
All right. Since we're sharing art, that piece is called Back Porch on My Banjo.
Mm-hmm.
It is a direct kind of shout out or my feeling as we were doing the tour on the Lower Ninth Ward where Hurricane Katrina hit worse. And some of the same stuff's there. And there are buildings that have not been touched this whole time.
Oh.
And they're dilapidated, but some of them still have that color and integrity. And so this is someone sitting on their back porch playing, but it's kind of almost a symbolism of hope as well as tradition. New Orleans has a lot of very keen traditions and how they do stuff, their culture. It's a culture within itself.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to show that in that piece.
I appreciate that. I feel like I need a white glove to hold.
All right. Yeah, put that over there with
Oh,
the rest
also
of the
let me ask you this. So as I have this in my hand, so for them, you did it, but it looks like a print.
It is a print. That's what that's my space. So I am going to do a show. I'm playing with it, and the name will be like the evolution of the Picasso. Stay tuned for that. Where I have all of my
This is wow. But definitely the question I'm about to bring back is going to be the print versus like an actual painting. Choo choo.
Not too much because I'm not giving my secrets.
This is stealing from friends. You gonna give us a secret? Hey y'all, I told y'all we gonna get a secret. Just give it in a second. I'll break it down. All right, just give me, just hold tight with
He's
me.
welcome to ask any question. Don't mean I'm gonna answer it, right?
See, look. Today's broadcast was brought to you by The More You Know, where folks try to get together and spread wealth and knowledge, and she said no. All right, so we're back, and you were explaining kind of like this is a new space you went into because traditionally it's what we would see as painting, and now it's
so great questions that you have here. So Prince versus the original piece. So there are people who only want a one of one, right? But a lot of times when you have work, especially if it's gallery quality, it may show
What's gallery quality?
gallery quality, something that someone who owns a gallery or represents people for galleries would pick up and say, this is something that we want on our walls. We want to represent you. We want you to have your collection here, and then they work out some sort of commission deal.
Okay, I'm gonna still have to. All right, so like the Walton place, and they have the different themes every month. What are you saying when someone wants your stuff on a gallery? Because we're not saying somebody's house.
Well, no, well that's what I'm saying. And so for me, like this is what I call it. It's a NFS, which is a not for sale, because it's historical. I rather allow like history places, other galleries that support this type of art, or it would go in a collection of other social justice and historic places. And I feel like it's when the value goes up when it's well traveled and when it is tied to something that matters to a region or a people or a historic time. But I also can create things that are just beautiful that someone wants the original because they follow me as an artist or they like my style and they can purchase one time. Now, there's art everywhere, and sometimes when people are investing sometimes thousands of dollars, they're slower to pull the trigger. So that's kind of like your big whale, right? But in the meanwhile, you have these art pieces that either one, the original sold, or that you want a different group of people to be able to afford. Like the message behind this is so strong of my Little Rock 9 piece called 9 Lives. It matters to me that instead of the one piece that's sitting right now in City Hall, which is very significant.
That's the OG?
Yeah, the significant, what do you say?
That's the OG piece?
Yes,
okay.
The OG piece, the original. Okay. Yes, the original piece is on the second floor of Little Rock City Hall in the Rotunda. But people from 18 countries and 4 stores celebrate this piece because I was able to offer it as a print, something easier to ship, something cost efficient. But you still can, I stand behind my work because I invest the money into it on the front end, whether it's for the form of replication or getting graphic design done so you can still see my strokes and stuff in it. So it just doesn't look like somebody, they saw your thing and they point and clicked.
Scanned it in.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't play those games because I stand behind what I do. And so I've had people who had a couple dollars all the way up to high-end corporate America people that have my work on their walls.
I'm going to take you to the route you probably didn't think you was going to go today.
Where we going?
I heard folks use painting as a way to funnel money.
Really? Okay.
Or hey, maybe I'm not saying the right word. Maybe as a tax strategy or as a way to say
launder money.
Launder. There we go. See, I told her I didn't go to college, and she do this to me. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, so the conversation won't be long on this, other than the fact I watch lots of movies and people do stuff like that. Especially if people want to buy high end pieces, they can buy it, and now the money is clean. Because
it looks as though it's subjective. I guess the value is subjective.
Well, the value is subjective, so they can say they paid into it, but the people that own it are really crooked people. Like, why are we talking about this right now? We're supposed to be positive, but people do things, and for me, I just think that if you could be so creative with your thought process and how to do wrong stuff, you can also use your brain and actually do things above the law and be better for it. You know?
I'm glad you said that. So with me trying to sell, like I've gotten into art now. Now I'm Picasso. That's an artist. So now I'm trying to value this. Am I valuing it based off how much time I did? If I do it based off how much feeling I put into it? How am I supposed to know what I need to charge?
Do you want to know the honest to God truth?
Absolutely.
The honest, just down deep in my soul.
Down in that Louisiana back porch.
Down on that Louisiana back porch soul. Pricing your art is one of the most subjective things you can do, especially if you're starting out early. There are people who do appraisals of work.
Yeah.
But their process in its own way is subjective. And some of that starts with how well you're known and the value of what you've already sold, which at that point you have to think. So here's the thing. This is a true story. My very first piece that sold out of a gallery was sold to a millionaire lady that I met at a like kind of like a workshop empowerment thing. I told her what I did and she said, "That's awesome." And she said, "I'm going to stop by that gallery and check out and see, check out your work up close. And if I see something that speaks to me, I'm going to get it. I want to support you." People say that stuff all the
Right.
time, so you don't put a lot of
Good,
anything in.
but
Like yeah,
exactly.
don't put a whole lot into it. But she called me and told me, actually, she didn't even call me. The gallery called me and told me the person had picked it up. And I was so excited. But she said, "I'm going to buy this piece because one day you're going to be something and I can feel it.
Shout
I'm
out
proud
to
of you."
millionaire grandma.
Yeah, but she's smart because
Yeah.
she called me before I knew my value.
She got in early.
Yeah, she got in early. So just that print alone, what I asked for it and what it's worth, I surpassed that.
Yeah.
But it was a lesson to me that even though I was happy about what I did and there was a lot of pride that I put behind it, I didn't take the time to really do the research and where I should have started. Because later on, I asked that gallery curator, I said, "Hey, it's okay," because their job is just to sell the stuff, collect the checks, keep their
Push out
cut,
the
and mail me this check, right?
Yeah.
And so this particular one, I said, "I've sold some pieces here." I said, "I just wanted to ask you, do you think that I undersell my stuff?" I said, "I'm kind of, been doing this a little bit longer, and I feel like I cheated myself." And she was kind of like, "I don't want to say nothing." Because
right.
they let you price your own stuff at this place I went, what you
Is
want
that
for
good?
it.
Okay. Is that good?
And that, well, it was good for the people who purchased it because I didn't know what I was
Okay.
pricing. Now, if they looked at that same painting, they would have said, "Wait, how many? Wait, what you say?"
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's okay, But you have to live and you have to learn. And I kind of needed those sales anyway to kind of get myself not only out there but to learn.
Yeah.
There is some formulas and you can actually Google them because I'm not afraid of a good Google search,
Come on with it.
right? And there are people who talk about how they price their stuff. You can choose by hour. You can choose by square footage. You can choose by one of the things that makes a difference for me is if I'm creating a piece and it comes from my mind
Mhm.
and my heart and I put it out there anyway, that's one price. But
Oh,
if you
bust
come
your
to
head?
me,
Is that a bust your head price?
it might hit you might have a little headache,
For sure. For
a
sure.
little bit.
Okay.
But the stuff that's more expensive are customs because
Okay.
you want me to create something that I wasn't thinking about, that I most likely don't have a connection to, and you want me to
Feel this.
feel this and I'm not connected to it,
Okay.
right? And when I'm not connected to something, it's easier for me to do it and let it go.
Right.
And so I can kind of work on a timeline with that. But sometimes if I'm just not vibing or creating, I don't want to do it. Like I have a custom that's in process right now. And I'm kind of putting myself on a timeline. Like I want to get it done before I leave for holiday break to see my family. Shout out to my Cali family. I'll be home soon, right?
Cali.
And so
Y'all traffic rough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it alone though.
Don't-
I'm gonna
don't-
leave it.
don't-
I'm gonna leave.
yeah,
I didn't even want to
don't
bring it
be
up. I didn't want to bring it
disrespectful.
up. I didn't want to
But
bring
we
it up.
have so much to do there. That's part of the reason I had to leave. I was too busy. I was too busy going to parties and doing all that. But
Yeah.
no, seriously. But it's so special to them and what they want to do with it that I'm now connected and I'm invested,
Yeah.
right? But they're great customers who have supported me in my business before. And so I'm invested. So that kind of goes to as if it was my own. I'm going to
Yeah.
give them something as if it was for me.
How?
That
How?
makes sense?
Yeah, it does. But how are you now? Going to. So initially, let's say we didn't want to, or we didn't feel that particular piece, and so me with my organization and ADHD, I have to do what you say. Hey,
Right.
I give myself to this time. If it don't
Right.
happen,
Right.
I failed. Right.
Okay.
And so, but now you have these pieces that you do genuinely care about,
Right.
and you're having all this energy and all this stuff put into it. You kind of mentioned it earlier, though. How long does this stuff take?
Wow. You know what? Katrina actually asked me that. Like, how long does this take you? There's some of the stuff that looks so intricate and like it took forever. I could have got it done in a half a day to 2 days, right?
So you say could.
Could,
That's-
right?
okay.
Could. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't in my mind for a year.
Got you.
So honestly, most of the things I do are 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
And you would think, okay, yeah, that's detailed and that's nice, but how would it be 3 to 6 months? You gotta feel it. You gotta like my stuff. It's almost like God literally gives me downloads,
Mm-hmm.
and the piece will be coming together, but it's like new colors or strokes or what I want it to mean come, and then one day this picture just pops in front of my face. Like, you see something in front of us? No, not weird or anything.
Right.
Well, yeah, because I'm a creative, it's fine.
Oh, you
But
absolutely.
there's nothing, there's nothing right here, but I can see it. So when I'm
Right.
painting, it's almost like I have this different set of lens that's like cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like you when you create and when you get ready to chop this up or
Yeah.
you do reels, you see things that other people don't.
That
So-
gave me chills because hearing
feel
it
it?
here made I'm like, bro, like I'll tell an idea to a client, what if we XYZ?
And they didn't.
I can only say it with words, but I was like, you got to trust me on this. It's going to be dope.
Right.
But yeah.
And that's the thing. It's that X factor. That's what makes me different.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wait on my downloads from God, but I also too there could be something as simple like in that picture that you have of the banjo gentleman, there is scrapings on the door which represent like the peeled paint.
Mm-hmm.
That, even though it's insignificant in terms of the biggest piece, it shows you exactly where you're at,
Yeah.
the conditions of the space, and it makes it real to the people
Right.
who are experienced that.
That's like sound design for us.
Exactly.
You just looking at something open sky, but then you add in a little bird, some wind.
Exactly. But it's kind of like all artists. I don't care what your discipline is. That's what it is when you do different types.
Gotcha.
They either
Okay.
ask you what's your medium or what's your discipline, right? But what's all the same with us is we all see art in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
There's that surface layer that people see. There's that next level of depth, and then there's the bigger picture.
Oh, what if it did the doggone? Exactly.
Yeah, right. And the 3D is you seeing it come to life.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts at the surface, and the building blocks are all the pieces, right?
Right.
I'll be honest, I failed up in art a lot. Like some of my earlier work, I can tell the difference in my style and technique now because I've been doing it for a while. And a lot of times I would start from the pictures that I wanted in the front. But in reality, I should have spent more time in the back creating layers, creating depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would put it in at the end, but it would be flat. But now I spend more time on the foreground, and then I bring the piece that I want in the front. And sometimes it just takes, like, you know what you need to do, but you can't explain that to people. But you
Exactly.
keep layering it until it's what you want.
Right.
And I think that's with you too. Like I said, just tying our things, and we're both artists.
Mm-hmm.
We just have different disciplines, but we see what we see in 3D.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your work. I've seen some of the videos, and I just dropped my jaw at how amazing this is, because I bet you looking at your videos is far more interesting than going to look at the house in person. It's just the truth, you know? And
Yeah.
believe it or not, I have a little experience in real estate and stuff too. I helped during the housing crisis, during Ford and General Motors crashing. I was a housing counselor. So my job was to negotiate and work with the big banks and stuff that held the mortgages to get them out of these adjustable rate loans and stuff and get them into fixed rate mortgages and
Yeah.
stuff. And, you know, and we would use, well, what do you have in your home? Oh, you built an extra bathroom? Okay, that's another $7K that we can,
Right.
you know. Oh, you did renovations? Wait, you made everything pink? That's not necessarily an upgrade because that's too custom.
Heard
It's going to
that.
be hard for somebody to walk in and like that, so we can't use that. But you did finish your garage, so that'll be another 10K
Right.
to the value. So I would play with it and help kind of co-appraise stuff
Mhm.
and then get it to somebody and pitch what I learned about their space
Yeah.
and get the value structured so that they would be like, okay, we're working with something here. And a lot of times I'd be able to get them into that. So seeing the homes and talking about them versus watching it in this cool video,
Yeah.
it makes me want to go, because I don't want to go look at 50 houses
Oh,
in a
man.
day, like actually get in my car and drive there. But I can look at some of these videos. It's a guy that, it's funny, it's a guy I follow. He's in like San Antonio, Texas or something.
Yeah.
He cusses and stuff. But he
Yeah.
goes to the house,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
yeah.
talking about?
Exactly. White guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hilarious, but I bet you he's really successful because he's found he used his
niche.
art
Yeah.
and his niche in there. And it's actually a black guy in Texas that does it too.
Okay.
He's just as bad.
Hey,
He's funny. Yeah.
I do want to dabble into that one specific
Right.
thing because you
Right.
mentioned in Texas.
Mhm.
I have a buddy over here in Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
Texas, Arkansas, in regards of progression,
Uh-huh.
we're about 10 years behind here
Absolutely.
in Arkansas.
Absolutely.
And so one of my buddies tried a similar concept, and it didn't go over too well at all. Actually, it was actually pretty bad, and he's and I'm not necessarily trying to tell him don't do it, but I was like, you got to know your audience, like you mentioned earlier, and for him to not necessarily get upset, but I'm like, bro, Texas is different.
Right.
Maybe they're part of a different brokerage, but you doing over here down in South Arkansas and all that good stuff. I was
Probably
like,
not gonna
they're
work.
not ready for it yet.
It's more conservative.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're going to do that, you're going to want to focus on, a lot of people like acreage and space. You're going to want to focus on that. If they're in the woods and they like lights, you're going to want to focus on, the height, the ceilings, or all of the windows. You want to focus on locations to schools, or you know what I mean? If, you're 2 miles away from hunting ground,
Right.
whatever, just know who your niche is. And that's for any form of art. I feel like even selling homes is a form of art.
Yeah.
Because why use this person or this brokerage instead of this one? They have to have something that
Right.
the other doesn't have. And so this new wave, and believe it or not, there's sometimes I watch, whether it's real estate or just, I've seen every reel of that guy in Texas. Like,
Yeah.
I literally watch them for giggles,
Mhm.
right? But there's still art into it.
Right.
I feel informed, and you can tell even though he's being satirical, he knows his stuff.
What's satirical mean?
Satirical, satire, kind of like being funny while being coy at the same
Okay.
time. Just kind of, yeah. He's funny, and but you also can see the level of seriousness because he's still giving you square footage.
Gotcha.
He's still letting you know about the neighborhoods, and sometimes his stuff's a little too honest.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's someone who says, hey, yeah, this might be a shotgun style home that you haven't seen since 1945 New Orleans, right? But this is the home for me in the price range in this area of Texas,
Now, how does that correlate for the painting side of it? Do you feel like you have to paint for a particular audience, or is that only when it's custom?
That's great. That's for more of when I do customs, but what I paint is what I feel.
Okay.
We're kind of in a weird space and time right now when it comes to social justice and politics and all that. And while I'm never really one to get all into the weeds
Right.
of things, there are some things that are just hard wrongs, and there's some things that we could do right or we could do better at, right? And so while things are being censored and books are coming out of classrooms and that type of stuff, one thing right now with me, you can censor the books, the radios, all that, but you can't censor my paintbrush. Because those downloads, like I said, they don't even come from me.
Right.
You got to go talk to the man above about
Holler
that.
at him.
Holler at him
manager.
about what comes out. And so sometimes the things that almost every piece, no matter how straightforward it looks, there is a deeper meaning,
Yeah.
In it. And most of those messages move people, but sometimes they also expose people and point out some things that we can work on.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that if I wrote it, I stand behind it, and most likely I stand behind it, or I can paint it and believe in it because it's something I experienced one way or another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah. But tying it all back into art, I believe you're definitely an artist. I mean, it falls under that.
Mhm.
But one thing I want to tell you, first off, it's been a pleasure just being in your presence and stuff today, and seeing how you put yourself together, and how this is all laid out. So I just want you to know that that is success too. Knowing your why and remembering it when it's not going your way. Because I could literally have a whole show where I could talk about moments and times where my heart was broke as well as my pockets. Okay. But I can also tell you that I just had my artwork this year in the Super Bowl at the Hospitality Suite exhibition.
Soft flex. Congrats.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know what was happening before then.
Put in 2,000 hours.
Exactly. But because I put in the hours and I promote myself, at first I was like, this is a scam, right? And I read they're one of the biggest sports agencies in the country. They reach out to me. They had their person that's handling, a lot of the activities for this event. And they were like, we looked you up online. We picked people from all over the country. We saw your profile and we liked it. And we thought that you would be a great fit to put your style onto a ball and be on the official backdrop for this kind of like celebration that goes on during Super Bowl week.
It just sucks the Packers ain't gonna be there though.
You know what?
Besides the point.
Don't count us out. I'm not gonna. We should have a separate one just to talk
Right,
about
just
that last game. But what I'm saying is my mic on because now
Yeah,
now you're being now I'm gonna have to get you. You're being a little disrespectful about my people. I'm trying to bring
The first one was on the house.
The first one was on the house. Okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna have to text you about that. No, but what I'm saying is that those highs are amazing, but they come with the lows. And it's the highs are so high because you can appreciate the lows. And that the fact that when it got to that point and you were in the middle of your 10,000 hours, you didn't quit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want people to really get from me in this message that we're talking about today.
Absolutely.
That's success.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of that to chew on. So this one, what we thought was going to be a 30-second clip, is going to be a 5-minute. And that's going to be its own segment right there.
Man.
That was just good.
But you know what? I have to give a shout out to a couple of people. I have business mentors and people, but there have been 2 people in particular that have either been on me or on me. So shout out to Samantha Stewart, who is actually one of the owners of Certified Pies. Shout out to her. The pizza is amazing. I suggest the Boss Hog. But if you go to Certified Pies, you will see a mural outside of the hogs and a whole football thing and my Hollow Thanks Christmas mural. Because once September hits, all of the stuff is at Walmart and at Costco. Mm-hmm. So I just figured we'd have one wall so you don't have to change it till next year of all the holidays. What I've done. Great person of support, really good for calming me down when I'm amped up. And then we have Allison Hossey. She is like a life coach, and she does a lot of just spiritual work and stuff, and she's real positive. But she is blatantly honest.
Yeah.
Monica, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And just ouch. Sometimes I have to get off the phone with her, think about what she says, and call her back later when I have an answer that's just not going to give me. And you're telling me for what? Or why does this matter? Mm-hmm. You got to have those type of people in your life. So that's what makes me successful. Surround yourself with people that are more successful than you, or that have done what you're trying to do, or understand where you're coming from when it doesn't work out. Okay? Because there's things I'm sure I can tell them to from my perspective, or, whatever, especially marketing and strategy. But what I'm trying to do and do the social media and do TikToks and do videos, I can do them, but I'm not like the posting and what's going on with the hashtags and algorithms. That's not really my vibe. But when you get around people that say, hey, you got to keep doing it.
All right.
But then now I have you in my life, to teach me stuff. So surround yourself with people that do what they do better than you, or at least can advise you in areas of your business that maybe it's not your thing. It's your weak spot. So shout out to them who have listened to me scream.
Heard that.
Yeah, and I get to cuss a lot in front of them. I cuss a lot to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to be on this podcast. But just as a follow-up, so we can stay connected throughout, or you want to give feedback about how you felt about my presence today, you can reach me at Makaso the Artist. Again, at Makaso the Artist on Instagram. And I'm also on Facebook at The Makaso Experience Limited Co. And my website is themakasoexperience.com. Thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate you. But things that I actually have coming up. If you see this by the end of the week, I will be a part of Second Friday Art Night in Little Rock. That will be on the 4th floor of the Rocket Lab, and that starts at 5 p.m. The following week, I will be back at the marina for Makaso on the Marina. That starts at 5:30 at the marina, and we are going to have a great time. We will have a harvest-themed image that we will be painting. Tell a friend to tell a friend and tell a friend. Get your tickets. Early bird special. And if you actually see this podcast and you remind me, I will give you $5 off the ticket price. All right. And at the top of the month, well, hold on. The last weekend of the month, it was like 25th, I will be at Market on Chenal. where they will have their annual Halloween fest. It's open to kids and adults, lots of shopping, good time. It starts at about 9:30, 10 a.m. It goes to 2 p.m. And the last one I want to do, shout out to the Maumelle Food Truck Festival. That will be the first weekend in November. So there's many opportunities to come say hi, to see my art in person, and also to join me for next week's paint party. Looking for it to be a big success. Limited space because it's a limited space. So make sure that you get your tickets now. Thank you so much.
So the thing is, a lot of folks say, it's easy to just go rob a bank, but it's not as easy to rob a bank because, you don't really know those folks at the teller, or maybe you do.
Right.
But the easiest thing is you get close to folks. I want y'all to follow me here real quick. You talked about expert networking. I want you to go and meet somebody. And when you meet them, it needs to be somebody that's better than you. Probably they've put in close to 10, maybe 10 plus. So they're a little bit seasoned, right?
Right.
And what I want you to do is just ask them a ton of questions. Ask them a ton
Right.
of questions. They may say no, so you go take them out to lunch. They may say no, and so you bring them a new poodle that you stole from your next door neighbor. No matter how you get in front of these folks, the idea is that you want to get and network with them. And this is all part of Stealing from Friends. So you should now, artists, you should have a lot more of an idea of a concept on where you need to go for a resource, where you need to go to connect, or whatever it is you need to do for any of it. So I want you to do one thing that your mom said you're always supposed to do. You're supposed to listen to your seniors. And I want you to go to like and subscribe and do all the things that you're supposed to do because your mama said it. And we'll have all our information down in the show notes. So feel free to check her out. This has been an episode of Stealing from Friends, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall.